The Mega Man series is well known for its hardcore platforming roots that finds you run and gunning your way through a plethora of immersive environments demanding pinpoint accuracy to see your way through. In many ways, the Mega Man series took this concept and widely expanded on it, fleshing out the series into something larger than the Blue Bomber himself. As the Mega Man franchise evolved, so did the fan base, and that fan base demanded more Mega Man. As that demand grew, so did our Blue Bomber skill set, as any student of the game would fine-tune their craft. Mega Man was now sliding, blasting, and soaring to new heights by adapting to the ever-changing demand put upon him. With each phase of our hero's growth, we expressed a greater appreciation for the series, feeling as if the fan base was growing with each installment. Yet as a testament of time, all things must eventually evolve. As we would see with classic Mega Man, it was designed to phase out, just as an expiring Robot Master would as a product of its time. Yet although a resurgence was inevitable, Capcom would go back to that tried and true formula to play things safe instead of pushing the classic series forward with Mega Man 9. The series managed to always find new ways to innovate gameplay and refine mechanics, yet with that resurgent success, Capcom relied heavily again on the fundamentals of the past to bring prosperity to the series. Capcom undoubtedly went back to the well with Mega Man 9, but would fans so easily accept another bare-bones Mega Man installment to hold them over, or had the traditional formula run its course? Well, I for one was in favor of a sequel to Mega Man Rush Marine for mobile, but maybe that's just wishful thinking. I totally would love an entire fleshed out world for Rush Marine to explore, acquiring various power-ups along the way, but who am I to make that call? All jokes aside, for this video, we need the Mega Man universe to come together once more to revisit the events of Mega Man 10. For development of Mega Man 10, Capcom again teamed up with Inti Creates to whip up another serving of that new-gen 8-bit recipe. Coming off the major success of Mega Man 9, Capcom stuck with the 8-bit inspired aesthetic, which appeared to be their definitive approach to classic Mega Man. However, for the next installment, the team felt they should not only cater to the old-school gaming enthusiast, but also to those who may not be familiar with the degree of challenge that comes with the franchise. Taking feedback into account from many consumers whom had difficulty with the previous installment, the development team would add a third difficulty option this time around that incorporated in an easy mode. This would allow players the option to have additional support items and platforms included in effort to help guide newcomers of the series during their journey, allowing players to adjust difficulty as needed for each playthrough, but with that additional support, grant players enough help to guide Mega Man through his latest dilemma. Sometime after the events of Mega Man 9, robots around the globe begin to suddenly malfunction, threatening the very existence of human life. Upon further studies, these random chaotic outbreaks have been linked to a mysterious viral strand specifically targeting robots, and as a result has appeared to run its course across the globe. This viral phenomenon, now coined Robo-Enza, not only disables robots of all shapes and sizes, but has infiltrated Light Labs and affected Mega Man's sister Roll. As time passes, a cure cannot be found, and the virus begins to not only consume the infected robots, but induces manic states in many, causing their internal program to essentially go maverick and threaten the very existence of the human population. The chaos becomes so maddening, Dr. Wily desperately seeks out Dr. Light, and while doing so crash lands atop Light Labs in effort to seek help from his former colleague. As Mega Man extends his arms out to aid Wily's landing, he discovers that Wily was in fact attacked by robots infected by the Robo-Enza virus. While Wily was under attack, the infected robots stole parts aboard his ship that were integral to discovering a cure. Wily was planning on using his newly invented parts to build a machine capable of manufacturing a cure. With new intel presented towards a cure, Mega Man agrees to work alongside Wily to retrieve the missing parts stolen from this new batch of infected robots. With the parts spread among 8 new killer robots, Proto Man arrives on the scene to aid Mega Man on his journey to retrieve the missing parts. Right from the jump, Mega Man 10 delivers a tried and true run and gun formula we would only expect coming off our most recent 8-bit outing. Taking the traditional blueprint from Mega Man 9, our game opens with the option to play as Mega Man and Proto Man. Their initial attributes play identical as they did in 9, with our story unfolding slightly different depending on who you choose. However, our biggest change this go around comes in the inclusion of Bass, originally added as DLC, which we will further go into in time. Bass makes his 8-bit debut alongside Treble, playing similarly to his Mega Man and Bass counterpart with a bit of a twist. What is strikingly unique to Bass is that he has the ability to shoot at multiple angles in 7 directions. Due to this, his shot is restricted while moving throughout the stage. Not only does Bass have an incredible range to fire, he does so in rapid rapid succession, capable of firing 4 shots to Mega Man's 3. Bass loses his double jump altogether this go around, but makes up for it with this fun dash attack that sort of reminds me of X's dash. At times, I can still sort of pull off a dash jump, but it doesn't have quite the same fluidity as it does in the X series. I also love the animation when Bass does attempt to dash, like he's lunging at you the same way Zangief does in Street Fighter 2, right before he does that nasty 360 power driver. If only. Another major plus of using Bass is having treble boost available to you right from the very start, allowing you to easily soar over many aggressive stage hazards with ease. In a game designed around the hardcore run and gun action of Mega Man 2, Bass's attributes make him a sweet character to play as. Like Proto Man, whose slide and charge shot comes at a trade-off, being dealt double damage, Bass maintains his defensive edge while losing some power to his Buster Cannon. Although you have the shooting advantage, you oftentimes run into enemies that take significantly more time to defeat due to your underpowered shot. This does hinder your run more so when enemies are in motion or you have limited time to destroy them while progressing forward. Remember many moons ago in Mega Man 7 we had the rush adapter along with our trusty charge shot and slide? I had so many options when it came to my playstyle throughout the classic series. Now it's as if that experience is chopped up and shared among 3 separate stories. It's like going with your buddies to your favorite lunch spot, ordering your favorite meal only to give your drink and fries away. The burger is good on its own, but man, I wish I had something to wash it down with. That's how I feel with the Mega Man 10 experience. Taking Mega Man's moveset away to differentiate between 3 characters instead of designing unique movesets around those characters' attributes in the efforts to match their specific character traits. Bass additionally has a few items unique to his playthrough as well this time around. These can be purchased uniquely at his own shop, now run by Reggae, which I'm assuming is located somewhere inside Wily Castle. This shop is stocked with all the essentials including life ups, health and weapon tanks, shot guards, and energy balancers. But new to the shop, we have 2 Bass exclusive items to go over. The first being the Treble item, which is essentially this game's version of the Eddy Assist. In the event things aren't looking too good for you, Treble will teleport down into the stage and give you a handful of goodies to assist you on your travels. Ironically, shouldn't this poor pup be the one receiving something from Bass? I mean, he is man's best friend. Give the poor guy a bone, will ya? Our second new item comes in the form of the Treble Rescue that acts as our beat assist this time around. In the event you take a nosedive off the stage, Treble leaps in for the save, fusing with Bass to rise up from the trenches below. It should also be noted that many of the items here, similarly to Proto Man's playthrough, tend to run a tad more than they do for Mega Man. It's either this man has a Connect out there in the streets, or the development team realized the sheer amount of items available to Mega Man and decided to cut him some slack. Now, the newest and crudest batch of Robot Masters have arrived on the scene to stomp the yard as Mega Man draws near. I do have my standouts this go around, but unfortunately, outside a handful of these Robot Masters, their design choices just feel oversimplified for my liking and really takes away from their overall arching themes. Robot Masters in a sense should be over the top and expressive. That's what the Robot Master contest was built upon. It's what makes the franchise so fun, and in many cases, looking again at the concept art for this game, many of these characters are criminally misrepresented by their final product. I believe much of that comes down to Inafune having so much creative control on these designs, attempting to keep the game true to its simplistic nature. This isn't a knock on Inafune, but I also think restricting creativity and not truly letting the juices flow through your team largely impacts your team's final product. I still enjoy these for what they are, but there was so much left on the table with these design choices. I'm sorry, but seriously, Pump Man? What are we doing here, guys? My 2 favorites this go around are hands down Nitro Man and Sheep Man. Nitro Man, getting that Turbo Man engineering from Mega Man 7, has the ability to transform, giving him quite the advantage throughout your run-in with him. He's got a fun build overall, with most of his mechanized components armed at his torso. His red and black paint job was a nice touch right down to the exposed tire port protruding between his shoulder blades. They even found a way to incorporate his handlebars into his design, flaring out at the sides for a very sleek look. Sheep Man is another favorite of mine that creatively shouldn't work as well as he does, but honestly, he's a hit at a somewhat dull party. My guy here is the perfect addition. His gold accents and electrical antennas really got him popping off. The only thing criminal about this Robot Master is how awesome all of his concept art was. I would honestly have been fine with them choosing any of these designs and would be grinning from ear to ear battling any of them. After laying waste to the first 4 Robot Masters, we meet back up with Dr. Wily to test out his new prototype cure for Roll. Wily proceeds to ask Mega Man if he is feeling symptoms of Roboenza, to which Mega Man states he feels fine, and after further examination, heads back into the heat of battle. The stages in Mega Man 10 take a hit the same way their Robot Master counterparts counterparts coincide with him. There are, however, some exceptions here that I genuinely very much enjoy. Strike Man stage finds you suited up against a hometown team. Everyone and everything is out to get you, including the locker room itself. You're traveled to turf pelted with soccer balls, impaled by footballs, and tipped off by baseballs as the entire stadium comes for Mega Man's head. It's one of the more impressive stages of Mega Man 10. I love the use of the various sports themes, and the way you utilize the stage props to maneuver about was sprinkled in very cleverly with a ton of charm to it. As you head into the big city streets of Nitro Man stage, the lights are never too bright for our hero. You navigate your way across the midnight purple superhighways, timing your jumps accordingly as you make your way across armored freight trucks as if they have a hit out for our blue boy himself. As you make your way across the windy streets, traffic signals give you the go as you look for the perfect segue to snake your way through the supercharged inner city tunnel systems. The stage is so well executed, the only wish I had was for it to be a bit longer. Sheepman stage takes the cake for me upon this playthrough. It oozes originality in almost every way imaginable, from the flashing circuitry throughout to the killer coursers sending corrupted bits of data your way. The stage really makes you feel as if you're traveling through a database itself. You find yourself running across conveyor belts to power the internal framework just long enough to clear paths to move objects into frame to get your trusty buster in range to fire a shot off. As you progress, the floors will crumble beneath the online superhighway as if the data is beginning to dematerialize around you. In all honesty, I really don't want to talk about Commando Man stage. I don't want to admit how many times I replayed this stage. As you make your way across the sweltering sand dunes, the ground begins to cave in under you. These desert floors are filled to the brim with landmines and beginner traps ready to engulf you when you least expect it. The sandstorms are what made me rage, second guessing my footing at all times. If you aren't traveling the storm via rush jet, then good luck. Initially, it can be tough to really gauge your surroundings until the storm subdues, and if you're not careful, you'll be eating spikes more often than less by the time the storm lets up. The musical score of Mega Man 10 sees a return of Ippo Yamada, Yu Shimoda, and the veteran cast that worked on Mega Man 9. This time around, Mega Man 10 was composed from all original chiptune music, where Mega Man 9 was considered a true spiritual successor to Mega Man 2, borrowing musical sounds accordingly for inspiration. Mega Man 10 was neither a remake nor a revival, but more so built from the ground up, with all new themes for this entry, including a brand new startup menu, game over screen, weapon upgrades, and so forth. The musical score is a true love letter to fans. Upon defeating the last of the robot masters, Mega Man eventually becomes compromised, falling ill to the virus himself. With Mega Man in jeopardy, Wily rises to the occasion to pull the curtains back on the mastermind behind the robotic outbreak. It's revealed that Wily was behind the incident all along and crafted the virus strand in efforts to bribe the world's robots to serve him as their master in order to receive a cure. As Wily attempts to leave Mega Man for dead, Roll reveals she saved her sample of the cure the entire time for Mega Man in the event he fell ill. With Mega Man fully recovered, our blue bomber whisks off to lay Wily's latest schemes to rest once more. For story playthrough purposes, Proto Man also comes down with Robo Enza only to be saved by Mega Man, who just so happens to somehow have an additional sample of the cure just in the nick of time. So did we really have to take poor Roll's antidote away and make her suffer? As you touch down on Wily's castle, the skies fade to black and heavy rains pour down upon the cold exterior of his metallic compound. The introduction here really sets the tone perfectly as you make your way past the guarded exterior walls, entering through the front doors only to be met with some familiar ghosts of the past. Wily Stage 1 is filled to the brim with new Robot Master pods that replicate Robot Masters of the past. I appreciate the nod here, but I feel going all the way back to Mega Man 3 with the inclusion of the Doc robots really made revisiting fights far more engaging. These pods are really just sort of lackluster at best and don't put up nearly as much of a fight as the Doc robots did. As you snake your way through the maze of branching paths, you will eventually run into 2 more sets of these enemy pods, which will really feel redundant by the 3rd round. After you solidify your victory, you'll make your way into the higher reaches of the fortress. Wily Stage 2 gave me the most trouble by far, a stage full of fast-moving conveyor belts that make you second-guess each jump the farther you progress. As you jump from belt to belt, the pits below are filled to the absolute brim with trolley enemies that implode on impact, dragging you down to the depths below. I would recommend stacking up on beat assists here, because my first playthrough, I went through here with my pockets empty, and between the icy floors caving in and the Kaizo-inspired death traps at every turn, you're gonna pull your hair out navigating this grand troll of a stage. The reward here though is the end stage boss, a very fun slugfest with a mechanized crab hell-bent on snatching up Mega Man Man and unleashing a barrage of toxic bubbles at you while you pivot the platform scrolling across. The fight really brought a smile to me the moment I saw this mechanized crustacean. Wily Castle 3 will have you riding up through an elevator from hell filled to the brim with death spikes and hovering Mets bombarding you the moment you intersect with their crosshairs. It deviates enough away to make the stage unique, but outside this, there isn't much that really makes many of the actual Wily stages stand out. That may be due to the direction the development team was forced down, but it doesn't feel like these stages took the concepts from the earlier games and crafted clever new ways to reintroduce the concepts. Merely, it felt like they cut and pasted them directly in instead. The Block Devil fight is the most obnoxious fight in the game. I get that between Mega Man 9 and 10, the idea was to bring back the painfully hard feel the Yellow Devil gave gamers, only now reimagined, but I didn't have fun with this fight at all. Unlike Mega Man 9, where the Twin Devils had a pattern that you were able to learn and see coming to manage your jumps according to the enemy's descent, this Block Devil confines you to a tight space, restricting your range to dodge the blocks. By the time the devil breaks apart and reforms, it becomes exhausting and you will be spamming E-tanks in no time, just waiting for the opportunity to attack. You will eventually arrive to Wily's chamber sealed behind his most recent creations. Laying them to waste will grant you access to his new keep, where you will run into the Mad Doctor once again as he was just about to make his way out to sea on his new Skull Cruiser. This might be one of my absolute favorite Wily fights just by design alone. After sinking Captain Greybeard's ship, Mega Man chases the Mad Doctor into his conveniently crafted escape base that takes him directly into the far-off reaches of space. As you drop down into Wily's safe space, you are met with some of his latest tech that creates optic illusions to throw Mega Man off his game. However, I don't think Wily used his most recent profile pic for this hologram. You can easily search out the real Wily at first glance, making this one of the more easy but hilarious Wily encounters. As Wily lies at the feet of Mega Man, he begins to turn red, falling ill. Mega Man, realizing Wily isn't bluffing this time, takes action and teleports Wily to the hospital. Due to Wily ironically becoming susceptible to human influenza, Wily realizes the errors of his ways and upon recovering sneaks off, leaving enough of the Robo-Enza cure behind for all the affected robots. Proto Man and Bass additionally have their own fun, unique endings with a twist to them. Proto Man's ending playing up similarly to Mega Man's, only Proto Man calls Wily's fate poetic justice due to ironically falling ill as well. He goes on to rip on him by suggesting he should just leave Wily there completely, but ultimately drops the old geezer off to the hospital. Maybe Proto Man booted him in the ass until he eventually walked his happy ass there for all we know. If you play through with Bass, he scoffs at his creator, telling him how bad he is at being a mad scientist. As Wily goes on to catch the fever, Bass proceeds to just leave him high and dry altogether, which is pretty on brand for him. Mega Man 10 is chock full of post-game goodness. Many features along with DLC were added to give additional replay value to your experience. The highlight of these come through the various Mega Man challenges, over 100 in total, that allow players to fine-tune their skills along with an endless stage that will truly test your overall endurance. The true deal breaker for me comes in the form of the added DLC content. 3 unique stages that find Mega Man traveling back in time to his battles with the Mega Man killer robots. Each stage theme inspired by a specific robot killer across the many adventures throughout the Game Boy series. Anchor, Punk, and Ballad all make their triumphant returns. Their stages truly are a great representation of the play on the name Mega Man Killers. These are by far the most challenging stages in the game and have a plethora of unique pitfalls and traps that will have you second guessing your own skill level throughout. This is where I believe Mega Man 10 shines. Where I feel at times Mega Man 10 felt empty and lacking identity, these remixed stages have that unique feel with their layouts representing the old school Mega Man vibe. Mega Man 4 on Game Boy was one of my absolute favorite Mega Man games, primarily because of the large assets portrayed on the Game Boy, such as the endgame Wily mech fight and the story elements between Mega Man and Ballad. Ballad's sacrifice in Mega Man 4, in my opinion, was one of the most heartfelt moments in the classic series, and the stage and music instantly teleports me back to the climactic moments of that final encounter with him. Between these robot killer stages, the music tracks between them, and the inclusion of Bass, the DLC alone is almost more satisfying to me than the mainline campaign, and that's saying a lot. The Mega Man 10 experience brought its own unique take on the traditional 8-bit formula. With this installment built from the ground up, it felt truly unique with its fleshed out audio and visual presentation. Mega Man 10 shines through the little things it does, from the stellar soundtrack to the fine-tuning throughout the stages, always paying attention to detail. I appreciate the little things that are added that pull from inspiration, but also establishing this installment's own identity through unique set pieces and assets. Although I enjoyed the shift back to the 8-bit formula, I think there was a lot left on the table for this installment. The game itself was a fun go for me, but for the first time in the series, I didn't feel overly excited playing through it. This, I feel in large part, was due to the oversimplified design choice. Where the set pieces themselves were well crafted, they in return were also far less memorable. Mega Man 9, in my opinion, did a much better job taking the Robot Master's central themes and implementing them into the beautifully crafted stages they reside in, covered in crafty set pieces and quirky gimmicks that made them feel fun and fresh. Mega Man 10 is great for what it is, but feels oversimplified at best, whether that be due to the Inafune's influence on the team to keep things simple and streamlined. Regardless, for me, something made it feel lackluster overall. The stages themselves were sort of just there, and it wasn't until I got to the later DLC content that I fully embraced the moment. In fact, I got a much better experience playing around in the time attack stages, using the variety of weapons to beat the special stages leading up to the robot killers. I know I harp on the Blue Bomber's recent limitations, taking away many attributes that made his journey so memorable. The overall gameplay again takes a massive hit. I would have loved to have had the opportunity to play through the experience with Mega Man's Super Adapter along with his slide and charge shot, but still, relegated to specific characters really made it feel more or less a chore, forcing me to replay through the game again for the full experience. I always felt that Mega Man 6 was a true swan song for the 8-bit titles, and I don't feel this really represents Mega Man's journey through the 8-bit classic in its entirety, more so catering to the hardcore audience that enjoys the Mega Man 2 experience overall. And with Mega Man 10 coming to a close, the classic series again would take a back seat for some time until, that is, well, you know, when Inafune snapped. Yeah, we won't talk about that now, but when a hero is needed in the darkest of times, just like so many times before, our Blue Bomber would make his return and rise again from the ashes with Mega Man 11.